Hello my dear students and welcome to this introduction tutorial into Fusion 360 where I'd like to explain just some basic stuff about the workspace, about managing projects, about navigation, and we will create our first little project. So it's just to get started in Fusion 360. So when you open Fusion, it looks like something like that. And I think the first thing that we should have a look at is here, Show Data Panel, where we can open projects and manage projects and find everything that we need. So open Data Panel. And what you find here is I have already a little bit more of projects than you. But here you can create a new project where you get all your stuff in, or you maybe just need one project one school project where you put all the stuff in. But of course, it would be advisable if you use a project for any object that you build here. When you scroll down, you find also quite a lot of examples. So just have a look at it. For example, you could also have a look at here, basic training, and open up projects and have a look at them. And when you go back to the house symbol, you come back to the overview. And for example, when I go here into design samples, I find a very nice design here, the utility knife, which is prepared here from Autodesk. And when you double click it, then it will be opened up in our scene. And then I could actually close the data panel so nothing is happening. So it's just the managing of stuff. So settings, okay, not too important here. So close that. Then, how do you navigate here? With the Shift key is actually the most important thing you need. Shift key and the middle mouse button. So when you hold the Shift key, and with the middle mouse button you can tumble your scene. And when you let go of your Shift key and just use the middle mouse button, you can just shift it around. And you see here also, it's actually also you can do it here with the pan symbol, or if you don't use the mouse wheel, you could also zoom in with the symbols here, or when you use here a window to zoom in, could also do that. Then the orbit, you could also, when you say here free orbit, to tumble, it tumbles a little bit weird. So I think I don't like that actually, so I always have my constraint orbit. And when you get lost somewhere in your scene and the tumbling is weird, then just get here to the U cube and click on the little house symbol, so it resets everything. And you can go on here with any navigation. This U-cube is quite helpful. Actually, I use it quite often where I can switch here to the right view, or just rotating it. Use here the little symbols to have a look from all the sides, or from the perspective, or from any point that you'd like to have a view on it. Just rotate it here. You could also switch with a Shift and 1 between a view with all the 4 sides, or 1 perspective and 3 orthographic views. And if you'd like to have this, and with Shift 1 you get back to your a full view of the perspective. Then when we're already there, I could also show here some more display options. So the visual style, you can switch here between control 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, or change it here, where you can say, okay, do I want to have it shaded or wireframed and see edges or hidden edges or whatever. My favorite is actually here, control 6, where I see my geometry, but of course if you don't want to see it, so I'm switching here, control 4, 5, 6 quite often. Then we have what you also might need if you want to change your environment, if you're not happy with the light one. So choose whatever you like. I stay here with my photo booth. Then you can switch on here some of the visual styles. What might also be interesting is here perspective or orthographic view. You see it now, I have a perspective distortion. Actually, while constructing, I find it more helpful when it's orthographic. But in the rendering, of course, you will need perspective, but that's another topic. Then you could also switch off your grid here if you'd like to, and also snap to grid you can activate or deactivate here if it's annoying to you somehow. Then viewports, okay, we already discussed that. Multiple views or just a single view. Good. Then let's switch here to the browser where you have your objects and you can switch on and off some of the stuff that you might see here. And maybe also important, the document settings. When you open it, actually you just can change here the units. If you want to work in centimeter or something, then please change it here for your document. Okay, don't want that. I'm used to work in millimeters, but that's the way, the position where you can change it. Then you find a lot of menus here. We've got a solid menu where we find a lot of stuff here. So this is maybe the most used tools, or you can add here to the shortcuts quite easily. So when you have any tool here, okay, they are already in, then you just click on the 3 points here and you can pin everything to the toolbar. So you might need that for stuff that you use quite often. I've done this here already for split body and split face because I use this quite a lot. Then you've got different other menus here. For surfacing, you will get to know all the stuff during my tutorials. So they are different techniques how to build your objects. Actually, you have the symbols look the same. I have also extrude and revolve here, and also in the solid menu I have extrude and revolve, and also the symbols look actually the same except the color. So be aware when you use things, don't be confused, or be sure that you are in the right menu. So the blue stuff stands for solid work stuff, and for just surface stuff, you see I don't have so much possibilities here in surfacing. They are orange. At this point, I'd like to explain the difference a little bit better between solid modeling, surface modeling, and I also forgot here to mention the freeform option that you have here hidden somewhere. But first of all, what is solid modeling? You may know it already from SolidWorks, that we are modeling from a solid, massive body and cut things away. So we get the form that we'd like to have. You see it here in this example. When I switch on my analysis, my section analysis, I see through this lined colored stuff that this has thickness and material, and yeah, it's not hollow. This is a solid model. When it's about surface modeling, you see it here, an example that here I just have surfaces, now also activated here, the analysis, surfaces without any thickness. And this kind of modeling is often used for, it depends, of course, on which purpose, but also here for this iron or for car modeling. And there are different surface parts, you see that? And when I slide here through my history, so how the switch off the analysis, how this is built off, so I create different surface parts, cut parts away, then create another part. So that's about surfacing. So patching, it's called surface patching, so putting different surface parts together, and I can stitch them. I did this here, and you see this, now it is a solid body. There was this stitching operation where I can connect all the surfaces together, and you see here now I have a solid body, and the analysis shows my aligned colored pattern. And now when it is a solid body, I can switch back to the solid menu and do here some more solid stuff. Okay, I did this then further on in a tutorial. So that is the great advantage of Fusion, that I can combine these techniques. Then also the third cool thing in Fusion are the freeforms, which were hidden here in the just finished the form in the solid menu. Okay, here's the create form menu, and when you click on it, you get here I don't want to create a new form, I just get here into my edit form. So where it's also called t-splines, where you have also some basic shapes that you can create. You could also do an extrude and revolve and sweep and loft. And the difference is that I have, after this operation in purple, so you see here the symbols are purple, I have control over points and faces and edges here in between. And this is a cool thing. So I can adjust any form that I'd like to have, and I can't do this with surfaces or solid modeling. So that's the big advantage of freeform modeling. So I can do whatever I like here. I will show you, of course, in upcoming tutorials. And when I hit OK and finish the form, actually I got a solid body again. And you see here, okay, I got some lines defining my body, and now I can go back and do some cuttings or whatever out of this form. So, and this is the great thing about Fusion, that I can combine these three techniques, solid, surface and freeforming, to create any form that you like to have. That's the goal of our Fusion lessons, that you get to know the differences and how to combine these techniques for your project. Then when you import a mesh, you could also do some stuff with it. So when you got it from a 3D scan or any other 3D program, you can rework the things a little bit, okay? It's not very big things that you can do, but some necessary stuff. Then Also a category for sheet metal, and yeah, any other tools that we don't need here yet. Okay, 3D print, yes, we will need in further steps, but not here now. Good. Then also there are other areas of the workspace. Oh, cool. There's already a render gallery. So I switched here to the render gallery where I can have a look at already created renders from this project. So just can have a look at it. Then there is an extra animation area, simulation, manufacturing, and drawing. We will also need that when we want to get drawings from our design. So I get back to the design mode because this will be the most important that we need. And what you also might need is here some help. So add this question mark when you want to do some self-paced learning. You can have here on the Autodesk side some videos and any learning stuff that you might be interested in. So just have a look. You can get yourself here some more information. Then the preferences you also might need. I find them here. And the most important thing you need here for my lessons is actually here the user language, because when you've installed your Fusion, it might be German. But all my tutorials are in English, so you might also switch your program here to English. Otherwise, it's your challenge to translate everything, all the menus and so on. So please change it to English. You can also change here some stuff you might need, but also there's some units. Actually, I never change here something because everything's fine here for the working. But yeah, they use the language. It's important here. Then we also have here some stuff, not much, but if you don't want to capture design history, or when you have the feeling that the history isn't captured, then maybe this is checked. But be sure that you always work with design history. The reason why is I can go back here and change stuff. I can edit things that I did later on, and Fusion can manage most of the things. So design history is a very important and very useful thing. So for example, I can get in here the basic form and change it, and everything will be calculated if possible afterwards. So that's the reason of using the design history. Okay, finish form, so that I can go back here to the finish. Okay, I think that's more or less the most important things that you should know in the beginning. And now let's get right into our first little project. And for that, go here to the data panel. Oh no, I forgot one important thing. So when you create a new design, or when you want to save scenes, then you find it here. But one of the main difference between Fusion and many other 3D software is that Fusion is a cloud-based software, and so all your projects are saved in the cloud, not on your computer. You can export it on your computer, yes, but actually all the working and all the saving is on the cloud. So when you save a file, it's asking me for a location, and that location are actually the projects, and all these projects are also on the cloud, not on my computer. So when I want to save it, I create a new project or save it into another project I have. Okay, give a title and then save it, but you won't find it on your computer. So if you want to have a project on your computer, I'm just opening one here of my tutorial projects, whatever. Not just saving this file on your computer. Of course, when I want to correct your work, I need your Fusion file, of course, and that's the reason why you also need that. Then you have to go to File, Export. Okay, saving is on the cloud and exporting is to export it on your computer. Then you go to export, then it's the file is .f3d, and there you have the location to choose where it should be put. Okay, then you get your F3D file, and then you can send it to me and load it on Teams. Okay, be aware of this difference. And when your computer is offline because the internet is too slow or whatever, you could also work offline, and Fusion will upload the stuff when you're online again. So that's also possible. So don't worry about that. And what I forgot to mention is that when I'm talking about cloud, it means it's connected with your account. You are asked from Fusion to log in with your Autodesk account, and this is actually the location where your projects are. Okay, so you have to log in with your account, otherwise you won't get your files back. So these two things are connected. Then another thing about file saving, and what's very cool about Fusion, is when you save the file and do your versions, or actually you see here my Lemon Squeezer is version 9, and Fusion does this automatically. So when I hit save with Command S, or just when I have to change here a thing, otherwise Fusion won't. So when I change something in the scene now, so whatever, okay, then I can here file save, and when I save it or press Command S, it's asking me a version description. I always leave here user save, and you can create milestones. Also never use that, but what it does, I hit OK. Now it's uploading here my new version on the cloud. And actually now it's version 10. And this is what Fusion does automatically. And I have all my versions here or here. When you click on it, you get the latest version. So I have every step I did or I saved, I have in a different version. And I could open here, for example, show all 10 versions. And I could open also an older version and start from here. So when somewhere in between, then I get this little symbol here, what's meant that a new version is somewhere available, and I can also save this as latest. Okay, because sometimes you destroy things, you have to go back to an older version, and then you repair the stuff, and then when you are happy with it, you should save as latest, and then your automatic version numbers are correct. Okay, then switch back to the house here, and I like to go here to basic training, and we will do our first little thing in Fusion. So double click here, the basic training, then go to, I think it was in, no, not in sculpting, then modeling. Yeah, in modeling, and there you have the trumpet project. And so please open that. So I close here my other stuff. No, don't save, don't save, don't save. So now we have our trumpet here. And you see we have sketches already, and that's quite useful now, but in the future projects you have to create the sketches on your own. But for our first steps, and that you get into navigation and use our first tools, that's quite cool that everything is prepared for you now. What we do is actually we will use these rails and curves and profiles, and the first thing that we do is we will create, you're in the solid menu, okay, it's important, create sweep. Okay, then we got a menu here, and here you have to change the type, path and guide rail, because we have actually two guide rails that we need, one path and one guide rail. Then Fusion is asking us to select a profile, and I'm zooming in and I can switch between these two. Actually, I just need the outer ring, that's my profile. Then I click here on the word select for selecting a path, and that one is here the inner or the lower one. And be sure that you select the whole line, okay, until to the end. Then I click on this word select here for the guide rail. Then I take here the upper line, and also be sure that, and you see it's already working, be sure that you click through. Yeah, now it's finished, and so easy you could create the form when the curves are already there. So hit OK. Now we got our first body, and you see it here in the bodies menu, we got our body 16. Then we will create here some profiles, and for that we will use the extrude tool, or here in create extrude, you can also find it, just hit here extrude. Then we are asked to select profiles. I select 1, 2, 3. And actually we could just pull them up here. And let's take here 190. And be sure that the operation is set to join. Now it's combining this object to the other, because here it would be cut out, or the intersection is just the leftover of the both, and we need to join here. Maybe 190 is a little bit too big. Let's take 5. Whatever. Be sure that you have the same settings here: start point, profile plane, one side distance. Okay. and then we'll do a cutout, again, extrude, and then we select these profiles here, 1, 2, the outer rings, not the inner, and push it down -20. And the operation is set to cut now, and hit OK. So we have our cutout buttons. The next thing is the mouth piece, and for that we will use a revolve, and we have to activate some of your sketches or make them visible, and we need here the sketch 7, okay, because this is actually our center point where we rotate around, and then go to create revolve, or find it also here or here. Then select the profile, this one, and the axis is here now, the green line, and so it's already perfectly rotating. And so type angle 360 degree, and operation I will set here to new body. Okay, I don't want to be joined with the other because I want to change also the material, and it's easier when it's a new body. Hit OK. And we will add also material, a real material, so that Fusion can calculate actually the mass of it. And you find this here in modify physical material. Okay, be aware that there's a difference between physical materials and appearance. Appearance is just the look of the object. You can also give it a material, just a material look. It's not for calculating any mass of something or any properties. It's really just for the rendering look. And physical material is the real material. When I want to give it a steel material, then it is as heavy as steel. Okay, so physical material. And Fusion has a big library, and let's find a brass material. So oh yes, we have it here in metal, and there we get brass, and I just click and drag here on this thing, and I just take an aluminium. I don't know what all the types of aluminium, not sure if I'm taking here the right one, doesn't matter, and I just let it drop over the mouthpiece. Okay, close that. To the trumpet, and I can have a look at the properties. And what I have here, physical. You see here, it's because I use the physical material stuff, it also calculated, for example, the mass, and you also see a volume or density or whatever center of mass, whatever you will need, bounding box. So you can have a look at how heavy your object is or which volume it has here in this properties display. Okay, that's it. So this was a basic overview. I hope you got everything. Of course, we will have a look at what is here, assemble, and to create a new component and to join them. Then we need different kind of construction planes for creating sketches. We could also do some analysis here, for example, section analysis, where I can have a look through the object and what is the thickness and something. Also, maybe we will need some zebra analysis to have a look at the curve stuff and if everything is connected here well. Then what we also will use quite often, insert canvases for having images to create from, and also decal for adding some logos or stuff. Also, we can insert any curves from other programs and meshes and whatever, but we will use it when it's time. And also here, for example, in the selection menu, I leave it actually most of the time here to select and not the freeform selection. But it's up to you what you might need during your working process. And we will have a look at so many stuff now in the coming up tutorials. So that's it. Let's jump right into the next project. Don't know which one will it be for you, but I hope you have fun learning Fusion 360 with me.